Hello and welcome. You're watching Hindustan Times. The European Union is tackling the addictive design of social media platforms in a fight specifically against TikTok, which is accused of not adequately assessing how its features could harm users. For more on this, let's go across to Thomas Sparrow, our DW correspondent from Berlin. Thomas, always good to have you. What exactly is the European Union planning to do to make platforms like TikTok change its features, and how has TikTok reacted so far?
The European Commission, so that's the European Union's executive branch, believes specifically that TikTok fails to comply with rules that are very important under the so-called Digital Services Act. So that's a landmark law here in Europe that holds platforms accountable not only for the content that is published online, but also for making sure that users are protected. And what the European Commission specifically believes is that TikTok failed to look at those issues, specifically when it comes to what it described as the so-called addictive algorithm or addictive pattern that you can see on platforms like TikTok. What the European Commission specifically means by this addictive design is issues like push notifications, like making sure that people stay on the platform and engage with the platform as much as possible with these personalized recommendations. So several elements that are part of that addictive design, according to the European Commission. These findings, however, are preliminary. So basically now the ball is on TikTok's court. TikTok has reportedly rejected those findings by the European Commission, can challenge them now, for example, in court. But if in the end these findings by the European Commission stand, TikTok could face very big financial fines.
Also, just how big of a problem is social media addiction, for example, in Germany, where you are?
It is a big problem. In fact, there was a survey published not long ago, a survey commissioned specifically by a very large healthcare provider, which revealed that around a quarter of teenagers in Germany are either already addicted to social media or are at risk of being addicted to social media. And this is one statistic that has certainly fueled the debate here in the country when it comes to potential bans on social media for under 16. Now, Germany is not as advanced as other European countries when it comes to these discussions on potential bans, but it is a discussion that is gathering speed. And in fact, the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said he supports a specific ban for under 16. This is very important because his party, the conservative CDU, are normally against bans. They believe that other measures are more important, or at least are more effective. But the Chancellor supports this, and there are different parties also in the German parliament that are looking specifically into what that kind of ban could look like. For example, the Social Democrats that are part of the governing coalition have said that one potential element of that ban could be to link the use of social media to a so-called digital wallet, which includes a verified ID by that person to make sure that under 16s do not use it. However, this is something that will probably be decided in a few months' time. So in the summer or even in the autumn here in Germany, there's an expert commission that is now working closely on what that ban could look like. And the findings are expected in around 6 months.
Also, Thomas, the focus is not only on TikTok, right? European countries are also planning to include AI chatbots in digital safety laws. Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely. So one thing is what we're talking about TikTok or separate investigations that are also looking into other social media platforms. But an additional focus is on so-called AI chatbots. So ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, Grok, etc., that are obviously used more and more, not only here in Europe, but around the world, and what kind of effect they can have on the well-being of users, specifically in Europe. There are a couple of investigations underway, one specifically in Ireland against Grok. So Grok is the AI chatbot that is linked to X, the platform owned by Elon Musk. And specifically, Grok was under fire for publishing a large amount of so-called deepfakes, specifically sexualized deepfakes. And now this probe in Ireland is going to look at basically what Grok did wrong and whether it breached any data protection laws in Europe. Why Ireland? Because the headquarters of X in Europe are in Ireland. Now, separately, the UK, which is not a member of the European Union, has also indicated it plans to amend some of its digital laws to include all AI chatbots to make sure that they comply specifically with digital safety laws.
All right, Thomas, thank you so much for all those updates from Berlin. Good to have you.